Investing is about more than just the making money, and neither one of us is against making money. That's the basic part of it. But you can make money and improve the place you're investing your money, improve the overall abilities of people that you're investing in, improve the land, improve the country, improve everything with your private capital.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Money with Mission. Today I have Skye Logan. I think you've heard of the company. He is the CEO of Philanthroinvestors, and you guys know I am a big proponent of giving your money a mission, and I'm actually jealous of their company name, Philanthroinvestors. You've heard from a few other people from their company, including Ivan or Yvonne and Jaime, who's a part of one of their umbrella portfolio companies, and even Riggs Echoberry, who's a part of one of their portfolio companies. Now we're going to hear about the overall philosophy of the company and what the company's doing, and Skye and his association. We're going to get going here. Here we go. Welcome to the show, Skye.
Thank you, Felicia. I'm super excited to talk with you again.
And Skye just made me jealous about where he is, so I'll let you tell the listeners where you are.
I'm in beautiful Puerto Rico, or as they say on the island, Puerto Rico. And yeah, it's tough. As I was kidding with you, Felicia, that it's a hard life. I have golf course in the ocean. I live on the beach and on a golf course kind of thing. So it's tough.
Did you guys we just had a hurricane hit Florida. Did you guys get any of that weather?
No, we didn't. So, we're right in the path. The island, obviously, is Hurricane Maria and many others that have hit the island pretty horribly. Maria, that was the last one that was really bad back in 2017. But these recent ones, they've kind of either gone high or they've gone kind of to the west. So, yeah.
Fortunately, good.
Yeah.
Because Maria was icky for you guys, for Puerto Rico.
It just hovered. It moved at like half a mile an hour and just decimated a lot of stuff here, for sure.
Were you living in Puerto Rico at the time?
No, I wasn't. I moved here just right after that to help some of my family, because my wife's whole family's here. And we moved here after that as soon as we could get access to the island, and then got a house here. And then, so it was here for a little while until I relocated for Equity and Help, one of our portfolio companies. I moved from here back up to Florida to help out there.
Oh, got
it. But now I'm back as of March.
All right. So let's get to your origin story. I know you weren't born CEO of Philanthroinvestors. How did you come to that company? What did you do before you got there? And you can go as far back as you want, and I'll probe you for what juicy stuff we can get out of you.
Well, it started at birth.
As most of us do, right?
I was born with a CEO tag on. No, so definitely not a CEO going up. So I grew up as an Ozark boy in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
And pretty much just a rowdy Duke boy, to be honest, and definitely was living that life. I did that really well. Probably a whole lot of stories I tell in different dinners and things. I usually don't tell these stories in podcasts, but so I grew up in the Ozarks as a boy, which had a really good time there in Walmart country and Bentonville, Rogers, Arkansas area.
Okay.
And then at 17, I had a buddy turn over to me at summer of junior year kind of thing, and looked over at me and goes, "Dude, how about we move to California?" So I paused for a few minutes and thought about it, literally probably 30 seconds. It was crazy. I was thinking about Van Halen and all these 80 rockers that talk about California chicks and la, 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 la. And I looked over at him and I said, "Let's do it, man."
You were 17. Of course you were going to do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I left my house when I was 16. I've been working since I was a young boy, and I left my house when I was 16. So I was kind of on my own anyways at that point. I don't remember. It was but easily within 7 days, we were gone, just driving all over the country, and wound up in Huntington Beach, California, Surf City, USA, and which was magnificent. I just absolutely loved it as an Ozark, a country boy kind of thing, that a hillbilly putting his toes in the sand. I was hooked. So I have not lived probably more than a mile to a few miles from the beach since. And that was back
I
in.
don't know why I just got a picture of Beverly Hillbillies in my head.
That was it. Felicia, that's what we were driving around the country.
Some of you guys might be too young to remember Beverly Hillbillies. Just go look it up. We're not going into it here. Okay. So you were in Huntington Beach. I mean, just because you're 17 and that's where you ended up. So what happened from there?
Yeah, well, we definitely had a good time. We just kind of continued my rowdiness. Our rowdiness is me and my friend, and he and I still are best friends since kids, and we're still gallivanting around. But we just did that for quite a while. From there, went to a tech company down in San Diego, partnered up there, took that from a one-man show out of his little house and his part of his garage to a huge warehouse, employees, and all that stuff, and did really well with that. I was there at the brink of internet back in 93, 94-ish, and had all that setup happening. And the original AO, I don't know if you remember, you probably do, had these AO America Online, the old discs, right? And they would come and and you had to dial up modem, and you would get on the internet. And I was bulletin boards. You remember what bulletin boards are?
I remember the word. I don't think I was into it that much, but these things are familiar to me. Yes.
Yeah. So bulletin boards, and before it was visual, before the internet was visual, just text and stuff like that. Right.
Okay.
And you do file transfers. Anyway, so I was on with that. And then all of a sudden it became visual. So anyways, long story short, that partnership, I learned a lot in that. Just like anything in life, you kind of learn a lot, even like a caustic relationship, a partnership that goes really bad. And that did. So I ended up parting ways on that. I did really well on that and ended up just for the next 13 years, just pretty much as a volunteer basis, full time. Just because that's what I love to do. I've always loved to give back, either early in scouts or church, or, even being a rowdy boy, you always respect other people and want to help people. You just want to have fun doing it, of course.
Yeah.
But I just spent the next 13 years as a volunteer basis and tutoring and marriages and education and helping people get off drugs, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So I'm going to back up because you said you were on your own at 16. It sounds like you've always had this philanthropic heart or philanthropic way around you. This is what is important to you. And was that something that came to you from your parents? Do you think, talking about being born, were you born with that? How did that come into you?
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder about that because I have my wife and I'm going to come back around to that, to answer that in a long way. So my wife and I, we have 6 kids together, and I have a conversation with parents all the time that you raise your kids to be the exact same way, same everything, yet they still develop into their own being.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you do, you are going to develop into who you naturally are. You have developed who you are, no matter what. I was listening to a good Tony Robbins talk this morning, and he talks about people who justify, well, I was raised horribly, or I was beaten, or that's why I beat people too, or why I'm a bank robber.
Uh-huh.
But he talks about, well, that's funny because there's other people that grew up like that in poverty and being beaten, and alcoholic fathers or whatever, yet they're multi-millionaires or billionaires. So it's not the situation.
Right.
So I don't know. I've always thought, okay, obviously my parents had an effect on me for sure, but it makes me wonder whether or not I always would have this drive, no matter where you would have put me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But my mom was a single parent for quite a while, raising us kids, kind of a latchkey kids when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Taught us independence really early because we were walking our kids ourselves. Me and my brother walked ourselves to elementary school all the way up. My mom was gone at 5 a.m., got in the hospital, and didn't come home till dark type of thing. So we fed ourselves. We did our chores. It was a very strict house. She let us have fun. We got to do anything we wanted, but as long as our responsibilities and duties were done. So we learned to get that done really quick, really well. And then we just got to play and have a good time. So I really liked that upbringing.
Yes.
Yeah. But she did always teach us, the golden rule. kind of thing. And you do right by the world.
Mm. Thank you. That was really good. And so you went to California and you were 17. Did you graduate from high school, or when did you graduate from high school?
Yeah. Well, so high school, 93. Yeah.
Say,
graduate.
You graduated. You were graduated from high school when you left Arkansas.
No, actually, which is silly. I left just before I went into senior year. I did my senior year in California. So I went to school with the same kids my entire life, from kindergarten up to 11th grade, and then just disappeared that summer. So that kind of stunk. It would have been great to graduate with the same crew, but yeah, we graduated in Huntington Beach, California.
Okay. So I moved as a junior in high school also and graduated with people that I didn't really know. Same thing. And I think that has given me this whole independence thing that sometimes I wish I didn't have. Like, I can move and nothing. I'm not rooted anywhere. It's just like, okay, well, you just time to go. I look at that. But you talked about you got into a company. So the two people started a company, you and this other person, or this person that started and you went in and helped?
Yeah, he'd already, it was already running. He had it running. He just needed some help with it. And I was a young kid it was either me go into, I had a partial ride in college type of thing for my track and field days, but I didn't go that route. I was going to go like marine biology kind of route and work with scripts.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Yeah. But instead I went down to San Diego, La Jolla, which is pretty close there in the scripts area. But anyways, helped him because it was a tech industry. It was so funny. So like you, very nomadic. I do like challenges. I like randomity and uncertainties. And I'm just like, hey, there's this area. The opportunity came up to me. It was offered to me. And I'm like, yeah, why not?
Give it a shot.
So, just give it a shot. It sounded like a good challenge.
And did you go to college while you were doing that, or you didn't go to college? High school to this?
No. High school right to that. Just self-taught. Went from, I grew up, my mom drove my mom crazy because I was always dismantling VCRs, and I would reverse engineer everything in the house. I'd take it apart and lay it out on pads, and then I would put it all back together to where it works. That was kind of my challenge. So I like electronics, and I had all that kind of gear. So I definitely liked electronics, even though I had no formal computer training. I didn't understand zeros and ones and coding and nothing, but I liked the challenge. And I've never helped, obviously right out of high school, I never grown a company. I never helped.
Yeah.
So it was just like the opportunity gave to me. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Talking about learning, education. We talk about formal education, and you talk about your street smarts, and that's the street smarts, learning by the seat of your pants. Throw me out the window. I'll figure out how to fly before I hit the bottom. That's that's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah. A lot of entrepreneurs that I respect, that's just how they did it. They just trial by fire, right?
It's like, I know the what, I don't know the how, and I'll figure the how out as I'm going along the thing. And that's very scary to so many people, but it's how so much gets done. It's just it's like, I didn't know how I was going to, I can look back and tell you how that happened, but I guarantee you walking forward, it was one foot in front of the other. And then the next thing you know, the thing is built. It's hard to see. And people who aren't willing to take those kind of risks sometimes don't have as much fun to me.
Yeah. I think the pendulum can go both ways a bit, but you're right. Some people will overthink and they'll take forever trying to perfect the business model and the plan and the this and that. And it just and it never takes off. So you're right. Some of the best businesses I've started up have just been bootstrapped, and you barely get going, and it's just you and a phone, or you and a computer, or you knocking doors, whatever you do. And you just make it go right. And what's great about that, and your listeners listening, is great. You got a great idea. You got all this kind of stuff, but you don't know some of the biggest errors I've ever seen in entrepreneurship is, I love the idea. Oh my gosh, it's going to take off and la, la, la. I think it's a horrible mistake because you're not the marketplace.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To be honest, I actually, anytime I see these TV shows and these cooking shows my wife watches and all these kind of concert, The Voice and all this kind of, it's never the guy I pick. It's never the girl I pick to win. It's never, and a lot of things that I think in the world is not usually how I find the majority of the world operates. Kind of divergent, I think just differently. So if there's sometimes, Alicia, that I've had ideas to do something and I know they would have flopped. So the point is, just get out there, start knocking doors, pick up the phone, start talking, and just get started. Ready, fire, aim. Fantastic book.
Yeah.
You just get started and find out if it takes traction. See if the marketplace really wants this great idea that you think you got. And if it starts taking off, then you'll very quickly get finance. You'll quickly start making money, and then you're on your way.
For those of you who heard him say ready, fire, aim, that's what he really meant. It's like you get ready, you take your shot, and then you figure out where you need to aim that thing as you go along. And that is some of the best advice ever. You don't spend so much time figuring out the right exact spot to hit. The thing about that entrepreneurship and getting out there and figuring it out is that you can pivot. You can figure out, okay, that's not exactly what the market wants, but it's close. You got started. So you actually got to figure out what it wants so that you don't spend a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of time, which is the one thing you can't ever get back. Remember, doing something that nobody cares about when it could be tweaked a quarter inch and you would have been right there. So let's get to Philanthroinvestors, because that kind of was one of those things. First of all, how did you meet Yvonne? Or I'm calling him Yvonne. He says people in the United States call him Ivan. But I like to be international. And come to this company.
Yeah, I don't remember how. So I was in Puerto Rico, as I was saying, back in 2017. And I've been a mortgage lender, a mortgage loan officer. I had a digital marketing company in the real estate area. I've been a realtor, I'm a licensed realtor, et cetera. So definitely a lot of real estate experience.
Time out. Because I last heard you had this company that you exited from, and then you volunteered for 13 years. When did you do all these other things?
Oh, quite a few other things. I also helped create and build a inpatient holistic drug and alcohol detox. I built that up to 3 facilities there in Orange County, California. Okay. So I did that along with everything else for a decade, because a lot of people, not to get back to that too much, but I don't like pharmaceuticals. I went down a drug path for quite a while, unfortunately. So I had a lot of passion on helping people with that. And yeah, I'm definitely anti-pharmaceuticals and a lot of stuff. People need to really dive in and find out what that problem is and not just medicate it, because it just festers. I've seen it happen in my counseling, and it festers. So
treating or covering, and whether you're talking about illegal drugs or legal drugs, most of the time we're treating symptoms, not problems. And I think you're getting at treat a problem, not cover it and mask it with the symptoms, whether you're talking about legal pharmaceuticals or not legal pharmaceuticals. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Whether it's alcohol or this or that or any drug. Yeah, it masks it and it doesn't solve the problem. And that's so I always like to look deeper than what the average Joe likes to look. So when someone calls it treatment, I always want to challenge it and go, is that really treatment? Let me look at it. And then I experience it, because I have someone that I'm tutoring or counseling, and a mom is dying and overdosing. And I start diving in, and hey, there's a massive problem here. So let me take a look at this problem. And oh my gosh, she just got out of rehab 2 months ago. I mean, how does this happen? And she's on more medications when she came out than she went in. What in the world? And you start diving down this rabbit hole and you find some pretty awful things. So hence, and then next thing you know, let's design a medically assisted holistic drug and alcohol detox. So
all right.
To solve that problem, to help a mom.
But you saw a problem in the world and you went to solve it. I mean, that was what we talked about just before we started talking about this. It was like, there's a problem. How do we solve it? Okay. So you did. Okay. We could be talking for a long time if we even dive into everything you've done, even though you tried to skateboard.
I skipped a couple, graduated, and now I'm sitting here.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've grown a few companies, started some, grew some, probably walked into some, made them better. Yes.
Failed failed a lot.
I was going to ask about that too. I was like, which ones, how many things did you learn? Like, because people say they learned so much more from their mistakes than their successes, which I'm going to agree with that. Do you feel that's the truth for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. You're either going to get two different things out of anything you accomplish. You're either going to get the achievement and the satisfaction from it, or you're going to get a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So no matter what, people should run towards that because you're going to grow, you're going to achieve, the excitement. I don't know. I think a lot of great entrepreneurs, people that will run full face into a fire or a problem or something they don't know. They're not fearful of a failure. They're like, hey, I want to learn something from it. I'm going to, whatever happens with you and I and other entrepreneurs, you just solve it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say besides you just solve the problem and you pivot. Like you said, you start heading down a path, you hit a brick wall. Okay, you pivot. And the same thing you do, it's in relationships or marriages or anything. You start heading down a path and how many times have you had to change direction? Mm-hmm. So you just need to learn. You need to be intelligent, be able to think for yourself and be able to observe, be intelligent to see indicators and be intelligent enough to program out a change in path.
So a lot of the listeners are surgeons and, this may sound foreign to you guys. You're like, this doesn't make any sense to me, but it does. We've all been treating somebody and we realize when you're halfway down a path of treatment, a treatment course, oh, I missed this, or, oh, this is now showing up. We need to pivot and do this next thing. Or you're in the middle of a surgery and you find their anatomy is not exactly the way anatomy is when we did it back in school. And you're like, okay, so I've got to do this a little bit differently. And it happens fast. Because that's how our brains work when we're really familiar with a thing. Entrepreneurship, I've learned my brain doesn't work that fast in the pivoting, but I do ultimately realize I have to pivot. I have to sit back and think about what's the next thing to do. So it is the same. It just, for me, in any way, in entrepreneurship, takes a little bit longer to happen, the pivots. But you can't give up. It's like you're in the middle of that surgery and it's like, okay, this isn't where I thought it was going to be. I'm done. It doesn't happen. You got to keep going. Anyway, just to bring all you guys up to speed on that. All right.
Yeah. That's true. Absolutely. And the same thing with the detox side, I had doctors, I had 3 different doctors, medical doctors. And, we had to create formulations for, obviously how much glutathione needs to be on a benzo drip. We did vitamin IV therapies and various other things. And it changed. You had to pivot because it starts going bad and the titration or the weaning someone down doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you gotta be observant and pay attention and pivot as needed. So.
Okay. Wow. So you did all the marketing in a mortgage company, your real estate, digital marketing, realtor, broker, mortgage company. Anything else in there?
No, that's pretty much.
When did you find time to get married?
Between 9 to 11 p.m. on Tuesday. It was in the schedule.
And you guys, they have 6 kids, so he takes more time than that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is fun, you have to have a zest for life, so yeah, just like any of us. So what's funny, you say that, Alicia, I don't know. Some of your listeners, I don't know. It always hits me when someone kind of there's so many times I'm listening to a podcast. I'm an eternal learner. Like I have my power hour every morning. I listen, I went along with my exercise and I hear so many people talk and I admire them. Like, gosh, how does Gary Vee get so much stuff done? Or how does, whatever.
Yeah.
How does Felicia Farrell get so much done? And I always look so much more highly on other people. So it always shocks me when someone kind of goes, oh my gosh, Skye, how do you get so much done? I'm like, dude, I'm not. I feel like I'm running behind.
The reason I'm laughing is because I feel exactly the same. The same. And then somebody points out, it's like, what are you talking about? You didn't get anything done. I saw you do that. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's great that admiration for other people. And you think, I think that's a positive characteristic, a virtue. Like you think more highly of other people's abilities than your own. You're always trying to work to bring yourself up,
Yes. When you think you're at the top, things are not going well. Okay. So sometime in your life, you got married. Can't even remember when that happened.
Yeah. It's in there somewhere. and the 6 kids. I don't know. I learned actually how to deliver in birthing centers and water births. I've delivered 3 of my kids.
Oh, really?
I was the catcher because I really wanted to do that. And so I learned everything about birthing and just all that kind of stuff. And just as a side funny note, Alicia, freaked my doctor out because I literally was almost going to deliver it myself at the house, my first one. Because I was so into it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like really into it, and jotting down everything. And because I guess they get probably like early calls, like the first contraction, they probably get people calling, I need to come in. And it's just false alarm. Well, by the time I call, they're like, okay, Skye, okay, what's it at? This and that. And by the end of the call, like within a minute, they're like, oh my God, like, how are you not here? Like you literally might not make it. So they actually had somebody kind of in transition to me just in case they could drive with, just in case she delivered kind of along the way. But we're totally calm, just like, no, it's all good. Don't worry about it. So, 45 minutes later, once we get there, baby's born.
And where in the world were you then?
This was in Irvine,
Okay.
California.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. There's a little traffic. Okay. All right.
Yeah, little traffic. So anyways, the point is kids, 6 of them. It is a blended family. I have been separated, got divorced.
Okay.
It's a whole other conversation there. So second marriage. So I brought in 2 girls. She brought in 2 boys, my current wife, and we have 2 girls together. So we got 4 girls and 2 boys.
2 boys. Okay. That's exciting. It's really exciting. Okay. Philanthroinvestors. Let's talk about that company. For people who haven't heard other programs talking about it. And we will reference those things in the show notes, you guys, so you can go back and hear about the companies under the umbrella of Philanthroinvestors. But how did the company come about? How did you get there? Why are you there? What does it mean to you to be there? And why should anybody care?
Why should anyone care? Well, that's so they definitely should care. So I have a passion on making change, solving problems, of course, moving the global needle, if you will, and actually really have a deeper understanding of life, have a deeper impact on life, and always have. So it's kind of why I flip-flop between different things in my life, because it's not satisfactory. Mm-hmm. I kind of define success as being a little bit more beyond just like financial achievements and stuff. I view it as successfully living a well-designed life that's led to a greater enlightenment of self, greater contribution to others, life lived with exhilaration, and achieving a reconnection with whatever higher spirit or higher being you find along the way, right? So I'm searching, and I just don't want to do real estate only. I don't want to only do this. I don't want to do that. So somehow I connected with Ivan Ants, who's the founder of Philanthroinvestors. And still today, I don't remember how. I think I was just putting it out in the universe.
Yeah.
That I needed more. At that point, I was just in Puerto Rico helping after Hurricane Maria with my in-laws and various things like that. And I just needed more. I just kind of so somehow, some way, just like the universe always does, I'm really good at getting what I want. My wife will argue that she's better, but so you should put out there, and you keep your ethics in and you're contributing. So the universe wants to help you because you're a light in the world. So that's kind of what I've experienced, at least.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I just put out there within pretty fast. It always shocks me how fast answers come, but somehow Ivan and I connected. He says, hey, I've got this company up in Florida, this housing company. They're providing housing for needy families and recently started up, et cetera, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay. How about you move from Puerto Rico up to Clearwater and take on the marketing, sales lines, and et cetera, the investment, raising capital and stuff for the fund, for the portfolio? I said, great. I'm thinking, again, have I ever done that? Never interested in the conversation. Just, yeah, let's do it. Right. And
I was going to say, I'm going to stop you for just a second because I want to go back to putting it out into the universe and what you want. What did you put out? Do you remember? What did you want?
Something deeper. I just remembered that. I was trying to recall exactly what it was, but it was something deeper, a meaningful, deeper impact or something. I needed something more than just successfully running a digital marketing company, which was no hard work. There was I was doing it And, yeah, even though you're crushing something, making money at something, it's just like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know,
It could be sucking the life out of you. I've been in those positions where this is sucking the life out of me. I make lots of money, but it is literally sucking the life out of me. And that,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Felicia, that's right. So that's kind of what I've experienced. I think that should be something in school, even early on. I think they should have a lot of classes on, I think there's two important points in someone's life: the day you're born and the day you find out why.
Why? Yep.
Right. I think that should be some really early soul searching, because I think to be honest, I spent like the majority of my life trying to figure out, okay, why am I here? What am I doing? And always second guessing myself and not sure I've got the answer. And so I think that's important for people to understand that, and earlier the better. Let me give a tip to everyone that's listening. Please do it much earlier, like teens, late teens, early 20s, not 40.
But the thing is, to me, you realize over time that your why can change, or the what you're here for can change. And then back to school. Why don't schools teach that? Why that's never going to be in schools, because that's not we could get real political in this, and not Democrat, Republican, but just political, and why schools are here anyway. But it's not for you to fill your dreams or do what you're here on earth to do. Has nothing to do with it. My humble opinion. But anyway, philanthropist,
Agree.
you put it out into the universe. You wanted something more, something deeper, something that was more fulfilling to you. And along came this guy from Argentina who had this company that I don't know if you got to listen to Yvonne's story too, about how he came up with the company, which is another very good story. And now he's got Skye. He's put him in send him up there to do something he's never done before. Skye's never done before, but Yvonne felt like he could do it. Obviously, he probably didn't even think about it. That's kind of his way, right? Just like, yeah, just do it.
That's right. He had the same viewpoint as I did. Just you got the willingness, you got the drive, and you just do it. So he and I hit it off immediately. Of course, I mean you've talked to Yvonne, and
yes,
anyone hits it off super fast with Ivan. So I know that that interview you had with him is in your channel. So your listeners should listen to that for sure. So
yeah.
He's obviously the founder and the dream maker of Philanthroinvestors. And he just brought me in as the CEO, kind of just turned it over kind of thing. But originally, so first I was at Equity and Help, and I helped build that portfolio up. And you have talked with the CEO there of Equity and Help at that time. So I helped build that fund up, closed up to well over 600 homes at the time, and to help take it to Inc. 500 company. It was number like 127 one year, the Inc. 5000, and number 83 in 2020, I think it was. It's actually number 3 in the entire nation in real estate. So we did really well with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so people get a picture, there's a company, Philanthroinvestors, and then under that Philanthroinvestor umbrella, so far we've talked about one company, Equity and Help. Equity and Help is a company that helps. Why don't you give the words? What is
so it helps
needy
families. So helps home ownership. So Equity and Help provides housing and home ownership. Everyone wants to hit the luxury market. Everyone wants to hit these higher price homes, and they kind of skip, or they, all this other area, and they try to stick them in opportunities, or they stick them in this housing communities and different stuff that's just sometimes awful. Well, we figured out this entire system. Like, here's a home. There's a single family home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 baths is the general, 1,600 square foot. Good. Let's just finance them into it. So they bring investors in, and the investors are the bank. The investor buys the properties and invests. And right now it's about $150,000, $160,000. They get to 3 homes. The investor carries the title, and they literally are the bank. They're Wells Fargo, and they simply finance that family into it, and they get the returns off of that.
It kind of almost, if we think about it, if for those out there think about housing in different categories, this is in the workforce housing kind of category, I would say, where the people that are buying these properties have the money, they may not have the credit, and they have great jobs, or jobs that are able to keep them in a place. But again, we know what our country and the credit looks like. If you can't get credit, you can't buy a house. So this helps those people buy a house. All those folks are, I'm going to say vetted, but that's not the right word, underwritten by Equity and Help, so that if you're buying a note, if you're buying a property and they're going to put someone in that property for you, sell that property to somebody that for you, they're going to perform. So you have a performing note. You're not a landlord. You are a bank carrying a note on a property.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're very well, like you said, vetted or underwritten by Equity and Help. There's so many, they have a huge waiting list of families. But yeah, there's some great people out there, and they're hard workers, they're tradesmen, various things like that. Yeah. You're right. Their credit is completely tanked, or they don't have enough. I mean, how much is housing nowadays? I'm a realtor. I've been a mortgage lender. I know how much. These people don't have $17,000 to put down.
Saved up to save up. No.
Yeah, some of them are living on, definitely paycheck to paycheck negative. So, but if you can provide housing for them, they're great people, and they keep up with their payments. Their default rate, Equity Help's default rate, is lower than most companies that service these maintenance companies and various things. So their default rate's super low because it's not just a rental. They're actually, they have, it's their house. And their house payment it's always below the market rent value.
Yes, that's what I was going to say too. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they know if they lose that house, they're going to have to go back to a 2-bedroom apartment that they have to pay more for. So they definitely want to keep up on the payments because it's their house. They're the ones painting it and getting to love it and all that stuff.
Yeah. So. I'm going to back up a little bit. What's the philosophy of Philanthroinvestor? How do you decide what companies to bring in under the umbrella?
So Philanthropic, we want to find companies that are innovative. They have a founder. They have some kind of innovative technology or solution to handle some major global issues. We try to operate in 10 different verticals. We try to operate in the area, what we call, Ivan's coined a term, life essentials.
Okay.
These are things that are essential to live. So air, we want to be in the area of water, health. Everyone's heard of the rule of 3. Right? You can live 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. So those are obviously on the list.
Yeah.
Housing, energy, plastics, animals, art, and education. For sure. So we want to invest in companies that are solving these issues and with innovative technology. So great. We'll bring on companies that are like really solving poverty. So we vet these companies intensely. Like, I don't want to partner with someone who I'm going to raise $5 million for, and 80% of it is going to overhead or going to just whatever, It needs to be, no, you're solving an issue. We're doing this for a purpose. I want to make money. I want my investors to make money. I want Philanthroinvestors to make money if we're capitalizing. But we're absolutely building a $1 billion global movement, without a doubt. Within 3 to 5 years, I will easily have that valuation. This company will be housing an intense portfolio of companies that are really solving a lot of issues. That's my postulate, my goal. So, but they need to be solving the problem. If I bring on a partner who is solving urban agriculture or growing food, et cetera, it really needs to be a solution, not, I'm just going to pump money into something that's not going to go anywhere.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you have Equity and Help under the umbrella. Name what other verticals have you filled so far? Or are you all full?
So water. So as you mentioned earlier, talked to Riggs, who's the CEO, co-founder of Origin Clear, the water company. Mm-hmm. They've got some tremendous things happening there. All these companies, my team can talk with you about any of these. The health company, we have one company in that vertical right now, and that's FiOS Health Network.
Yes.
Yeah. Which you've interviewed David Queenie. I just got off the phone with him just a little while ago. He has a brand new baby boy.
I didn't know. Congratulations, David. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's good. And then plastics, which is C-Loop, which is incorporated out of Dubai.
Talk about that a little bit, because plastics doesn't sound like a company that's doing anything good in the world. What is that?
Well, this company definitely is. So one of the problems we discovered was, when you and I collected recycling plastics or glass, Alicia, back, a century ago when we were kids, where did we take it?
I don't even remember. I don't remember.
Well, you take it to a recycling center,
Yeah.
You got this big green or white, big metal container.
Things, yep.
Yeah. And you take it and be maybe a line outside, depending on and whatever. And they weigh your plastics and all this stuff. Make sure you don't have rocks in your cans and stuff, gravel. So you take it and they would give you money. So, okay, that's great. But what do you do in the middle of India? What do you do in the middle of the Sudan or Ethiopia or et cetera, where they don't have this infrastructure, this recycling, this collection systems and the recycling infrastructure? So we looked at that. The other thing that we looked at is, okay, other resources that we have is phones. Everyone's got a phone in their pocket, right?
Mhm.
You got that. You got a bunch of people. You got lots and lots of people, billions of people in India. Well, what if I can somehow create a system that leverage a phone and I can leverage people and create a system where, so what Z-Loop does is it's got an app. Everyone can look it up, download it from their whatever Android or iPhone store you've got.
And it's
Z-Loop.
Z-E-L-O-O-P, right?
Yeah,
Or is it just
that's right.
Okay.
Z-E-L-O-O-P.
Yeah.
And so imagine, Alicia, you collect whatever, 10, 20, et cetera, plastic bottles, and you're in the middle of nowhere. So you just take a picture of these plastic bottles. And so you have to register recycling bins. You get like a trash can, you do whatever. And there's a process that you have to register that as a recycling bin. And I go and then I take a picture of my plastic bottles and I deposit them in the recycling bin. And then I immediately get awarded a digital currency, ECW, okay, which itself separately goes up and down in value, just like any other digital currency. But right now, that digital currency is exchangeable for goods and services. So that family, we've got families doing this in some areas full time. Imagine being able to buy food, buy clothes for your kids, et cetera. So part of the build out in the company is more partnerships so you could exchange it for more areas, more stores, more food, more grocery stores, et cetera, markets. But here shortly, it'll be exchangeable for cash. So they can collect. So what we're doing is leveraging this entire workforce, all the people, billions of people, wherever, and their phones, and they clean up these plastics because it's just getting worse. We've all heard about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, this kind of thing that's growing. It literally is growing. It grows 10x every decade, 10 times in size every decade. It has, I think it was it 6 or 8 pounds of plastic for every 1 pound of plankton right now. Crazy, absolutely crazy. It has, and that's only one. Most people hear about that one, but look it up. There's an Atlantic garbage patch. There are, I think, 6 other spots in the oceans that have these currents and eddies that we don't even know what they're collecting. So it's a growing problem. But if you can leverage all the people on the planet, so that's what Z-Loop is doing.
So is that in the United States at this point?
Well, no, actually, the United States is the smallest. It's in India a lot, UAE, India, Argentina. We're actually working with we have a whole crew down in Argentina working. So Argentina has pretty much a non-existent recycling system. So we're actually working to put an entire collection of recycling system program throughout the entire country. And part of our team is working with one of the ex-presidents and a 5-time governor down in Argentina to implement this. And we've got quite a few contracts with municipalities and just putting up. So part of the investments that go to that is good, buying the infrastructure, buying the trucks, buying the plants. And, it's crazy how cheap it can be to build an entire plant.
I've heard that plastic, that half or some significant percentage of things that I think are recycled, I put in the recycle bin and somebody comes and picks it up and says they're going to take it and do whatever they do with it, never gets recycled. How does Z-Loop do that differently?
So at your collection plant or your recycling plant that you have, I just obviously have to make sure that's taken care of. But you're right, there's tons of stuff. I've been to recycling plants to check them out and look at them and stuff. And it's a confront process because it's just big garbage plant and plastics. It's crazy what people throw into them. It's actually really awful. People need, so there's definitely an education process, great. If you want to save your planet, don't be throwing all your dirty diapers in the recycling bin. And just various things like that. Or a lot of people think your trash bags, grocery bag you get.
Plastic bag,
is recyclable. You see tons of these things and they're not recyclable. So it's just an education thing, which is part of the whole program. So
Okay.
people really get that you can't throw this stuff away. But no matter what, your plant is always going to have. I interviewed a guy who was running what I consider to be a fairly successful recycling plant. That plant's always going to have that separation, that system in order to do that. Because you're always going to have people that just, no matter what you do, they don't care and they just going to do what they do.
Yeah, your recycling gets contaminated, so you have to have some way of processing that once it gets to the place. Okay, got it. So that's Z-Loop. We talked about origin cleared water. We talked about health. We talked about environment. So that's what I'm going to call Z-Loop, is environmental. It's cleaning up the plastics. What else we got? Where are? Sorry.
Yeah. So those are the companies operating right now. There's some others in the hopper, but those are the.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And how can people, if somebody's listening to this, they're like, I want to know. First way, you can go to moneywithmission.com and hit the opportunities page and become a Philanthroinvestor. I'm happy to chat with you about that and connect you. But if you don't want to do that, how can they get in touch with you guys? I think we talked about crowdfunding a little bit. Is there some way to invest in these things through Philanthroinvestors that way, or how's it work?
That's one of the companies in the hopper, Equity Ventures, which will be,
gotcha.
Yeah, that'll be coming around, but that will be the crowdfunding where they can have a piece of the ownership. We're going to put all the properties in a big fund and people can contribute to that.
Is that going to be about equity and health, or it's going to be about all the companies? It's going to be about equity and health?
Yep, be about equity and health.
Okay. All right. And so the other verticals you talked about, again, I'm sorry, we've got water, we've got environment with the plastics, and we've got health.
We've got air, energy. Yeah, air, energy, structure. Well, I want to bring, animals, art, and education.
Yeah.
Plus just bring on more companies for each of the verticals, because some companies
they
only want to operate in Africa or something.
Okay.
Like, great. Well, what about Haiti? What about DR or
Yeah.
So there's lots of companies. Within my 3 to 5 year plan, within 5 years, I'd like to have about 100 companies under the umbrella.
Okay. How many people are working with Philanthroinvestors to help vet all these companies? How do you guys find companies? How do you research them? How does all that work?
Yeah, well, I get referrals. I haven't fully launched. So right now I'm actually restructuring the financials and the entire fund for Philanthroinvestors at this moment. So I haven't turned on or the gasoline on the coal, so to speak, on bringing in more partners. Like I said, I have some sitting here pending, and they have been just word of mouth. People get referred to us, or as the brand grows, strength. I don't think I'm going to have any problem. I'm going to have more and more people reaching to partner with us because they're going to want to have licensing ability, or they want our logo on their website and partnerships stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to have any problem with that. So, but if anyone wants to refer people, they can go sit on our website. There's actually a button there that if people want to work with us or partner with us, they just click the button and fill out that short form, and it comes to us.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Skye. This has been really good. I'm sure we could talk a lot longer as I've been listening. It's like, oh, I want to go. No, we got to go this way. What would you like for people to know that I didn't ask you?
So the biggest factor that all the conversations I have is I want everyone to make money. I want everyone to do super well in life. But my goal in the conversations I have is I simply want to raise the conscious level of investing in the entire planet. And I will say this. I want people's responsibility to come up. I don't want people to have low responsibility and, I don't care. It's not my planet. It's like, well, no, this is one world, man. You got kids, right? You got grandkids, right? Or whatever your religious beliefs. I mean, you might be back again. Majority of the planet believes in that, Buddhists or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
It's your planet, man. So you need to do something about it. And this whole, I don't care, or I'm just here to make money off the backs of others. That just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't cut it with me, and it's not going to cut it with the rest of this planet. People need to come up in their ability to actually impact and give back. So that's the biggest thing I want people to understand is however they do it. They don't have to do it with us. They got to do it somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Investing is about more than just the making money. And just like neither one of us is against making money. That's the basic part of it. But you can make money and improve the place you're investing your money, improve the overall abilities of people that you're investing in, improve the land, improve the country, improve everything with your private capital. That's that's what I think you're saying about raising that consciousness and just paying attention to where you're putting your money. It's very important. This is not somebody. I had a couple on, a man and woman on from Till Investments. I can't remember where that was, but anyway, he talked about their ESG investing, and they talked about how some people think it's woke. The word is driving me crazy now, but this is not woke stuff. This is being awake and understanding that you make a difference and you have to make a difference, and making a positive difference is where we're going here. So thank you so much, Skye. I really, really appreciate it. Give me a chance to preach a little bit. I appreciate you preaching a little bit. We can just get the word out there and let everybody know that being a Philanthroinvestor, giving your money a mission, is the best way to be in this world. Thanks again, you guys. See you later.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.